Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Product Launch Podcast. As always, I'm the host, Sean Boyce. I'd like to welcome my guest today. His name is Nick Malekos from LearnWorlds. Hello, Nick. How are you? And thank you for being on the show.
Hi, Sean. Thank you for hosting me. I listened to a few of your episodes before, so I'm really happy to be here because it's one of the few niche podcasts on the subject, and very few people actually go into the product and product launches, and it's a very important part of a lot of SaaS companies. Thank you
Glad to
for
hear
inviting
that.
me.
I obviously agree, but thank you. I appreciate that. And where are you calling in from today?
So I'm calling from Cyprus. So we're in the southeastern part of Europe. It's an island, and it's a pretty nice island. You have everything from a beach to a mountain next to you. So right now I could be on the beach, and on the afternoon I could go for skiing. So it's a
Oh, that's
pretty good
cool.
place to know. Yeah.
How far away are the two if you wanted to do both in the same day?
It's less than 100 kilometers. So I will
That's
say a
pretty
little over
nice.
an hour driving if you're driving safely.
That's pretty cool. Got to admit, and definitely, if next time I'm in that region of the world, I'm intending to stop by to say hello in person. So,
I will be waiting for you.
awesome.
We
Well,
have some great offices here next to the beach.
yeah,
It's actually 300 meters from the beach, I think.
so that's excellent. Yeah, nowadays I'm in Philly or the northeastern United States, close to New York. So our weather's not so great this time of year. So I'm jealous. So I may be there sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it. And we're excited to learn more about LearnWorlds. So for both myself and our listeners, can you please explain for us what LearnWorlds is and how it came to be?
Okay, so LearnWorlds is an e-learning company. What we do is that we offer a platform for anyone from trainers to creators to enterprises to teach, to create online courses, to create training, and to educate. How it came to be is that compared to everyone else on the market, our founders were focused on the educational part from the university. They have PhDs in learning. They are very research based, and they saw that 7 years ago there was nothing that actually followed the modern learning techniques. They wanted to do something that was all encompassing, was the right way to teach online. It has to have a community. It had to be interactive. It has to give everything that a student will help to grow, because learning is not a passive thing, it's a social thing, something we learn together, and it's an interaction between at least two people. Even through the written word, it's an intermediary on that. So they decided to go and use the latest research to develop what they believe to be the best platform out there in the market. And slowly building up, it had to be also a platform that could sell. So it offers everything from building up a website for e-learning purposes, having a blog, to having an e-learning community inside, anything that you want to teach, from video, assignments, exams, giving out certificates, but also the sales funnel that you need, selling the courses, selling bundles, creating discount coupons. So it's everything an entrepreneur wants to teach wants, and it can be customized also for corporations who want to train their employees and have a more advanced learning paths, and and any kind of reporting or analytics they need for the employees.
Got it. So I would summarize LearnWorlds as kind of like an EdTech platform that enables
Yeah.
people to build online courses. Is that fair?
Yeah, exactly. We're in the EdTech SaaS space.
EdTech SaaS space. Excellent. So talk to me a little bit about who the customer is for you guys.
Yeah. So there are three levels of customers. The first level is the solopreneur, I would call it. Someone who is maybe just starting out, or they have some experience and they have some kind of knowledge and they want to teach. Let's say this could be me or you. So I'm good at marketing. You're good at helping companies launch their products. So you have some expertise and you want to teach it. We see a lot of coaches right now want to live from the live coaching, because you cannot coach so many people. You have a limit, and they wanted to do a course because it's how's it called? It's anyone can take it at any time. So let's say a coach is a typical solopreneur who wants to move from one kind of business and onto the other. Consultants are another kind of these people who are doing this. Maybe you are a yoga instructor and you want to sell a course on doing yoga. Then it's a little bit on the higher level. It's the SME kind of customer, the trainer. So you might be doing already workshops. You are a trainer, you are teaching to companies, you are doing some local workshops, could be any subject, and you want to move this into an online platform. And a usual case is also the CP, the continuous professional education, either retraining, let's say accountants, legal, there are many requirements, or compliance training. And you want to move this training because your customers are requesting this training anywhere that you are. Like a common issue I see with this kind of customers, they got tired of traveling because the most successful ones are being requested to travel from one city to another, especially in the US. They might be crossing states just to do a couple of days training and come back. So these people are getting tired and they want a better solution, something that will give more value to their customers, be there all the time. And when there is a requirement of the physical training, they combine it. And then is the higher tier, the corporate enterprise customer that has two scales. It's companies like us, SaaS companies, that they're teaching their customers because learning is highly valuable. So if you have an expert as a company, you can teach others how to do what you do. An example would be one big customer we have where they're selling physical products like Alexa, and they have technicians as their customers. They're teaching people how to use those devices, how to install it. So it's customers and partners on how to use their products and services, make them expert customers, and so they make them more loyal. The other part of the corporate is internal training with employees, which is more straightforward. You have employees, you need to train new employees, you need to do compliance training, you need to improve the skills and renew the skills of your customers, sorry, of your employees. So you need to retrain them every now and then, and they have groups or cohorts of training per year.
And do you have an idea as far as what the split looks like on those three different types of customers, traction-wise at Learn Worlds, as far as how many you typically
Uh,
have in each group?
Not exact numbers, but around that, it's between 20-30% is the lower group, the solopreneurs.
Okay,
And the more professional, either solopreneurs or trainers who are a little bit more on the market, it's around 50%. And the rest is as a corporate enterprise customer, which I think is a little below the 20%, like
nice,
between 10 plus, 10 to
excellent.
20, somewhere around there.
And we talked about this a little bit. I'm hoping to bring a course to market for kind of product strategy, product management,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff this year. So I'm going to be taking a real hard look at Learn Worlds to see if you guys can help me bring that to the world, which would be
Yeah,
really cool. I'm
I would love to help you.
encouraged by that.
We're actually a high touch company, so our support is one of the best, and
Excellent.
we have so many materials to help you start with it. And any question you have, I'm pretty sure I wrote about this in our blog.
Love it. Thank you. Yeah, I was checking out the website a bit and testing around the product as well too, and I've been very impressed by what I've seen so far. So very excited and encouraged. Definitely take you up on that. Talk to us a little bit about the problems that you solve for these customers. How does Learn Worlds address their needs?
So the first need is that people have to go online. They want to reach a bigger market. So they want somewhere that they use one tool. But it's also a lie. The one tool is a lie. Because what we see is that a usual customer starting out will want to have everything in one tool. But as you grow as a business, you have your four or five favorite tools. So we either offer almost everything you want or the integration with your favorite email marketing tools or lead capture tools or anything else you use for your business. So we offer the part of the education, but also as much as the marketing and the website building. So we take off a lot of the issues and headaches. And compared to other solutions, that's a part of the headache we want to avoid. We want to make it easier for you to avoid having any technical issues and focus on actual education. Because one of the things that we see with people coming from other platforms, especially WordPress plugins, they try with 10, 20, 30 plugins, but those plugins don't have any good support. They break up, they don't connect well together. So they're coming up with us. We help them with the technical stuff. If you send a ticket and there is an issue with our platform, we fix it. If you don't know how to do a part of the website, we help you do that. We explain how you can do it. So it's something that might take you a few hours or a few days to master, and then there are no bugs. You don't need to worry about hosting. You don't need to worry if one feature controls with other, or if the video breaks and you have to talk with this plugin, and then an exam breaks, or a certificate was not given, and you have to communicate with 3 or 4 people just to make one course work.
I think one thing in particular that you mentioned there that I would draw more attention to is the importance of support in what you're doing. So, right, anybody, I think the idea or the impression is that we obviously want to make our products as easy to use as possible, but there will be times when the customers are going to need help using those products. And
Yeah.
you mentioned several times kind of that high touch component. I recognize the same as well too. My software company, Staff Geek, we call it a low touch product with high touch service available
Hmm.
when necessary. It's really important to have a solution and options for customers to
We
address
see,
their concerns in those areas.
yeah, doing some research on other SaaS and seeing what are the high growth startups, the high growth companies. You see that everything that is high growth is low touch because it's easy to use. It's usually a single feature product or 2, 3 features. But when you grow, you add on features, you add capabilities, and these make the complexity go up. As we are growing, we're trying to keep the complexity low, but because it's a so massive platform, people are asking for this and the other customizations. Unfortunately, it becomes more complicated. And this is one of the things we're working right now, how to stay complicated, but make it easier for people to understand it, or improve their onboarding process so it's easier. And so support and high touch to help them do that is essential while you are growing. And yeah, finding a way to balance the complexity and the simplicity at the same time.
That's an excellent point. And I would love to hear you talk about that a little further because we get that question a lot too. I asked it of other SaaS leaders in the space too, as far as how do you balance, right? We're pretty well aware that the simpler products are easier, can gain traction more easily because they're easier to use. But as your customer base grows and the demand for more functionality also grows, how do you guys balance that trade-off?
Yeah, so think about that. When I started, we had less than 50 support articles that we had to maintain. Now, after 3 years, we have more than 200. I think we are close to 300. So, but
Wow.
the people, it's difficult to find and understand it. We have this the help center button. You click it, and still people cannot find it sometimes. So one of the things we do is the onboarding sequence with emails. Emails is king for me. I'm planning to rework it again and again. Like today, I was doing some fixes, and I see that we still need to do a lot of improvements in our onboarding sequence, and I don't have enough time to fix it so well. Uh, One of the things I'm doing here on LearnWords, more than half of my time is going on to content. So one of the things I have done is I have worked with my team, and we have written content pieces that address these issues, and they address it in both SEO and the product way. And this is a great example we actually saw from Hrefs, and we're copying that. Hrefs are the kings on doing that. They marry the product with a content piece that ranks. So if you see in our article, our top 3 articles talk about how to create an online course, how to create an online school, and how you can choose the best video learning software. Um, the highest converting article of mine is how to create an online school, and it's the best example on how you can have some step by step. I'm writing for people who want to start, and I'm showing them how to do it with LearnWords. Uh, Anyone can use that article as a guide to know how to look for other platforms, but I actually show them screenshots. We have videos, we have step by step on how you can do it. So you can have 2 screens on you, my article and the school, and you can just go through the basic settings that if you think about them, you won't find them because we have so many customizations. You have to go at least once through the settings and customize it because if you're a corporate customer, you might not want to allow signups. But if you want to have a fully social membership site, you might want to change the discussion settings, who can talk with whom, what's open, what's not, and what kind of discussion is on the level of a lecture or on the level of the full course, and how it works. So I take them through all this process. It actually works because it brings people who want to do exactly this. It shows them exactly how they are. I cannot prove it because I don't have the data, but I'm pretty sure that people bookmark this and go back and they use their school, because a lot of people from there become trial users and then become customers.
That's excellent. Another huge challenge too is to create what we need to create in order to gain traction. I like what you mentioned about, so you talked about some of your more effective content that you've produced, which has worked real well from a marketing perspective. But I imagine that also doubles well for even existing customers, because it's kind of like a how-to guide because you incorporate the
Exactly.
product and then article as well too. So can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about, because that's another big thing, right? As we want to share, we bring these SaaS products to market. We want to share them with as many customers as possible. How do we meet them where they're looking for help? So can you talk a little bit about ultimately how you, well, the topics that you intended to write about when it comes to that and incorporating the product? I think you're talking about a really great balance of you incorporating the product into a guide that could help for both lead generation from a marketing perspective and also satisfy existing customers with how to use the product. How did you figure out which topics there would gain the most traction?
You have several tools to see what actually ranks and what people are searching. Because even if I have data and analytics, especially on the beginning, I might not have the data on my side. But I can use Ahrefs to see the volumes. I can see the Google Keyword Planner is also a free tool to make advertisements. But you can also see the volumes of the keywords there for free without relying on any outside tool. And I think Neil Patel also launched the, how's it called? Uber Suggest. It's a little bit tricky. It asks you at some point to give the email to give some nice data, but still it's a free tool. You can see a lot of volumes and data. I can throw out a few keywords and see variations of what people are searching, how much they're searching. So I can make a list. And what I'm working with one of our consultants is that he gave me some ideas. We worked together to give a list of 100 articles. And then I went up and I gave it a score from 1 to 4. 1 to 4 is his business value. So I say, I have a very good article right now getting a lot of traction, e-learning trends. What's getting popular on training right now? But this has for me a business value of 2. Business value of 2 means that it's decent, it's good, it's bringing people, but it's top of the funnel. It's not people who are ready to buy now, but it's good because people know you and they'll come 6 months later. So I have other articles that are business value 4. There are people exactly looking for the product. For example, it might be looking for a competitor, ex-competitor, alternatives, and I write for this. Or
Cool.
they like how to create an online course. How to create an online course is also a little bit on top of the funnel. They're not fully ready. They're not ready to purchase right now. They're creating content, but you want to lead them into the process and get them there. So it's a business value between 3 and 4. Another way is that when you start a company, you have written a few blog posts or a few content pieces. So you see what has traction. Then you track it and see what's actually conversing to customers, either trial or paid users. And then this informs you because you understand which article you want to focus, which one you want to invest resources rewriting, making better, because every year we write and rewrite our best articles and make them better and bigger and more inclusive. And then you want to attract leads, links on there. But the experience from us is that we try to find the one channel that rules them all, and there is no, we always have a balance. We might see 1 month getting more customers from SEO, organic traffic. The other month we see people coming directly because it's a month that people decide to start a new business. And then affiliates send us a lot of leads, and the next month maybe falling down a little bit. And then you have paid. So paid has also been a very stable way to bring new leads, new trials, new customers. But it's all working in concert. And anytime we try to see the one best channel, we saw it was always multi-touch. In simple products, if the decision is less than a week, you might work with one channel. But if it's a complex product like us that has a longer cycle, multi-touch is the way to go, because you have to show up many times and make someone see you again and again, remember and come and use a product, because you have to make them reach the aha moment. You have to make them invest time and see that they're getting results before they buy.
A couple of great lessons out of that was, I would say, continuous experimentation with your different channels and not jumping from one to the next too aggressively. but also measuring how well they're producing kind of an impact and helping you make progress in that way. Yeah, I think that's excellent suggestion. Um, Very encouraging. Thank you, Nick. It's been super helpful to learn more about LearnWorlds. My last question for you before we get into kind of the resources and how people can reach out to you is, what's the best piece of advice you have for someone looking to start a SaaS business today?
I will say this on any kind of business. So do a test. Don't go throw yourself and build a product for a year and then try to find the customers. Because one of thing of my background, I forgot to tell you initially. So I'm coming from both an educational training and startup environment. I have been working as a volunteer on many events. I have joined a lot of startup and local business events, and I know most of the successful and failed startups around my area. And I also was working on education on a college and a media website. So I have seen a lot of ideas rise and fall. The common thing when they fall is that people think the idea and they just stuck in their head. They never try it, and they just think, I'm not sharing this idea because someone will steal it from me. Implementation matters. You have to do it first of all. But before you do it, I see a lot of people failing because they start and they wait to build up resources. It's good if you are waiting to find a team, the right team. It's good if you are waiting to find the right timing or resources. But go and do a minimum viable product. See if it works. Because if I invest now to either make a startup or make a course and spend 3 to 6 months developing without having anyone to sell it, just going to splash and make nothing. Um, Find people, find a problem, solve it on the minimal way possible. If it's manual, yeah, if you do a 1 to 3 months of work and try to find a few customers. Don't overdo it. Don't work it.
Yeah.
That was even one of the mistakes of our founders. So we're in the between the top five course platforms in the market, and we could have been in the top 2, 3 if our founders were a bit faster. Because for the first year they wanted the perfect platform, and they lost 1 year of traction. Next year they actually started good, so we're in a very good place right now.
Excellent.
But still, if they started selling from day one that they are building and not 1.5 years later, they could have been double or triple the size because the growth kept coming and coming and coming after they started.
Excellent.
And what informed us about the product we were building is that the first customers informed the first features. And without that feedback of actual real paid customers, not someone promising to pay if you build it, this is how you grow. Of course, there is a trap here. You you don't need to listen to everything someone say, because if you have a couple of customers that look big in the beginning, they might be asking for a lot of things because it suits them exactly but doesn't suit anyone else. You have to find the balance of what seems logical, filter it a little bit, and see what most of their customers want to have, and have some data center analytics. In the beginning, you won't have it. You have your own experience and filtering, but as you grow 100, 200, 300 customers and talk with them, you understand how to build up to reach out the biggest market.
Excellent advice. You heard it here, folks. Try it before you invest too heavily and too significantly, right? Understand your customer, understand the problem space, and get that prototype out there as fast as possible so you can start getting some validation data. Excellent. Thank you, Nick. And thanks a lot for being on our show. 2 more questions for you. The first of which is, what resources would you share with our audience that you'd recommend they check out to learn more?
Okay, first of all, I will for sure suggest our own academy. If you're on education, teaching, or courses, we have a great academy. We have some free courses you can take, and you can just join and see what you learn and how you can educate either your customers or make a revenue stream, next revenue stream there. If you're into SaaS, software as a service, I would truly request SaaS, both the blog and the podcast. I haven't been to one of their conferences. It's on my to-do list. And because I hear a lot of podcasts, I have a list here. So a few interesting things for me is the equity podcast from TechCrunch. I just love reading about TechCrunch just to keep the news out there. And a couple of things of a little bit out of the box for this. I love Freakonomics, the book, the podcast, their blog. It's not about how to build your startup. It's about how to open up your mind to different kind of problem solving things. So it opens up to understand the possibilities of how you can think about the problem in different ways and actually go and solve it. And a similar podcast is the Cautionary Tales. It's a new one. It has just 7 episodes, but I loved it. It just explains very well how people see a problem and they go and follow the problem and never look back and never try to find different solutions, and how we block ourselves and we put ourselves in a box. And I hate the out of the box saying, to be honest, because sometimes the box is very good, but you have to see all sides before you decide, and you have to reevaluate and do it and see through the reevaluation if you have to continue. This is an option, or you have to go back, or you have to change.
Excellent. Those are some seriously awesome resources. I mean, Zaster, TechCrunch, Freakonomics, I love. I've read that. I love the blog is also, and the book and podcast are all excellent.
The first 2 books are awesome.
Actually, agreed. Yeah, looking forward to checking out Cautionary Tales too. I haven't listened to that one yet, but I'm gonna add that to my list as well. Also, all right. And so Nick, tell us who should reach out to you and how can they get in touch?
So my email is nick@lergos.com. I also reply to most of our hello emails. It's the onboarding sequence. So anything you reply on our onboarding sequence, I follow that, or I send you to the right channel. Actually, you might not hear from me. You can reach out if you have any questions about this podcast. If you want to connect, it's better to find me on LinkedIn. Send me a message there. Nick Malekos. I think you will be writing and linking to my LinkedIn profile later on the podcast. I love LinkedIn, actually. It's very useful for professional work. And if you want to either launch your online course, do an extra revenue for your startup, you want to train your employees or do some lead captures with free courses, or make your users an expert, because as we said, onboarding users and teaching them how to use a complicated product is difficult. So education is one of the best way, and we see that actually good statistics. Anyone who invests their time in taking our course in our academy, even just logging onto the academy and checking a few things there, they are 4 times more likely to buy than any other trial user we have. So at least for us, it's a great example of how education can sell your product. And if you want to learn more about that, I will be happy to help you. That's what we do.
That's awesome. Thank you, Nick. And thank you for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Product Launch Podcast powered by Next Step. If you or anyone you know is involved in scaling a B2B SaaS business, please have them reach out to me about becoming a potential guest on our show. They can email me at sean@nextstep.io. That's SEAN@nxtstep.io. This time, we'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsor of our show, Next Step Consulting. Would you like to know what the right next steps are for your B2B SaaS business? Are you trying to grow and scale, but you're stuck? We can help. To find out how Next Step can help your B2B SaaS business achieve its goals, please email me, sean@nextstep.io. That's SEAN@nxtstep.io. Thanks, and keep disrupting.